Hello everybody and welcome back to the next episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante with a friend in need. Our friend Tommas has come to ask us for some help, it seems. You arrive at the office one fine morning and find a visitor already sitting there. The visitor is none other than Tommas Coelho. His heavy uniform already bears the captain's chevrons. He looks nervous, his fingers drumming a foreboding staccato on the desk. Why has your old friend decided to pay you a visit? You pat your friend on the shoulder and congratulate him on his promotion. Tommas shrugs, quietly brimming with pride. I got bumped up a month ago. Apparently the Legion is running short on decent officers, and then I realised why there are so few of them. I wish I knew my superior was going to be our very own Commander Otton. Tommas grins at the mention of Otton. Listen, buddy, you and me, we always help each other out, alright? The acting bastard, well, he challenged me to a duel. For the second time, he cut me down a month ago. That was my second lesser death. I know, I never told you, but it was tough. The gods, they spoke to me in the hereafter. But right now I've got something worse to worry about than matters of the soul. See Otton, he remembers me from the time at the academy when I stood up to him at the party. Now he's going to kill me again and again till my true death comes. So it's a duel. That's Otton's way of having fun with his subordinates. Montgomery, I'm asking you as a friend, will you be my second at the duel? I know Prefect Alborn doesn't like any kind of sword fighting. It's one of the old traditions he wants to put a stop to. If I show up without a second, he won't just kill me for a third time, he'll dishonour me too. You knit your brow in thought. In the Prefect's opinion, dueling is the lawless tool of noble tyranny. Alborn sees duels as an outmoded way of circumventing the legal system. He'd be crushed to learn that one of his judges had been involved in a duel. Tommas sighs heavily. I know this is hard power, but I've got no one else to turn to. All the boys in the Legion fear Otton like the plague. You're the only noble who can support me in this. But I know this duel won't be the end. Our great Sir Otton will find an excuse for a third duel before we know it. That'll be my last one for sure. Tommas rolls up the sleeve of his uniform. 2 pitch black lines encircle his forearm. He is desperate, and it is easy to see why. 1-on-1 against an Arcane swordman, he is doomed. The law forbids duelling, but if you refuse to show Tommas your support through your presence, your friend's spirit will be broken before his body can even be killed. You recall all the previous encounters with Otton in your youth. Is there a chance the distinguished Arcane still remembers you? If you go to him and speak in Tommas's defence, will he even bother to listen? This is where perhaps we shouldn't have signed a lifelong bond of friendship with Tommas, because now we can't get out of very sticky situations like these ones. We can't decline his request, we've got a bond of friendship. And we don't have Doris Sutton's favour, so we can't prevent the duel. We have no choice, we have to agree to be his second. Not that I feel particularly good about the consequences of this action, but we'll have to. Although I'm sure Alborn will struggle to see our side of things. You've been best friends with Tommas ever since you were little boys. Does he really think you would abandon him to such a cruel fate? Of course you'll be his second at the duel no matter what. Your friendship will not be broken, not even if you risk Prefect Alborn's displeasure. As the two of you walk to the palace ruins, you finally have time to ask Tommas for more information. What was Otton's excuse for challenging to a duel this time? Here's what happened. Otton told me to head to a nearby village with a squad of Legion soldiers. Sulmina it's called. The villagers refused to pay the Archduke's tax. They said they already paid the tax to Gaius Tempest's men. He is the overseer, so the law says the tax is his. So Otton told me and the lads to string up a couple of the rowdiest peasants and put the houses to the torch to teach the rest of them a lesson. So we went there, and let me tell you, buddy, I didn't join the Legion to start hanging people and burning villages. So we decided to have a word with the village elder first. The locals soon realised what was going on. Losing money is one thing, but losing a spare life is worse. They hemmed and hawed and finally found enough cash to pay Archduke Milanius. Which means we came back to Anisotti with nobody dead and all the money for the treasury. But then the commander summons me and claims I didn't follow his order, which means I also slighted the honour of the noble Arcanine who's my commander. So he challenges me to a duel. And you know what? I'm not the first Montgomery and I'm not the last. Any officer in the Legion could end up like me. Otton does as he sees fit, with no plans to stop. He's a commander, he's a noble of the sword, he's an Arcan. We're just dirt under his boot. Who's going to rein him in? We reach the site of the duel just before dawn. By half-crumpled wall you see a tall figure clad in a thick cloak. Doris Otton, High Commander Magra, already expecting you. His azure fingers drum impatiently on the pommel of his sword. Tommas dutifully bows to his commander. Otton grimaces at him. You're late, Captain Guerrero. I should have to wait for you. You've insulted me again already. And who is this? I've seen your face before. Anyway, I don't have time for this. Make haste, I have other duels today. The commander's second appears from the shadows. A young nobleman, quiet and eager to oblige his betters. And seconds he asks the duelists if they are ready. Without a word, Otton draws his sword. Tommas nods anxiously, clearly ready to face another death. The two barrels stay menacing and adopt a dueling stance. The difference between them is apparent as soon as they begin. Otton's sword seems like an extension of his arm. Tommas pales before him like a clumsy child who has grabbed for his father's sword for the first time. Everything about this battle shows that Otton treats his duel as no more than entertainment. The Arcanine moves around so rapidly and gracefully, your friend can barely defend himself against the flurry of strikes. Then, for the smallest moment, Otton tones down his assault, and the first time during the duel, Tommas makes a riposte. Easily, effortlessly, Otton deflects Tommas's blow and then retaliates. His sword sinks through your friend's shoulder. As soon as you see the blade draw blood, you shout for the duel to end. The debt for the insult has been paid in blood. The loser of the duel is ready to offer his apology. The fight must stop. What? Is some human trying to teach me the laws of this duel? I'm an Arcanine of the Otton dynasty. There is no one here who can teach me ways of honour. His sword flashes and stabs your friend straight through the heart. A wet red spot begins to spread through Thomas's shirt. Your friend stumbles backwards. He drops his sword and his knees buckle. A wheeze, another, then a cup of blood, and his bright eyes go dim and dull. Slowly, Thomas's body disappears. His bloodstained clothes, his sword, and his footsteps in the dust are all that remains. Otton hides his sword to his second, who is ready to wipe it down. Well then, that pitiful human will face another duel very soon. Let's hope he fights better during his last life. When your friend is reborn, tell him my exact words. The Arcanine walks away, calm and composed, his second in tow. Dazed and numb, all you can do is gather your friend's belongings and bring them to his house. Unless you intervene, Tommas is doomed to meet his true death soon. You are a judge, but to an Arcanine of such rank and birth, your authority means nothing. Is there any way you can help your friend? So our relation has gone up, but he is very much in danger. And Augustine is not thrilled about that, but we did not have a choice in the matter, unfortunately. We couldn't do anything to assist. The day after your meeting with Tommas, time slows to a crawl. As you examine one case after another, you cannot help but think back to your friend and his fate again and again. There is a knock at the door. Baron Alborn, the prefect, has decided to pay you a visit. I have a matter to discuss with you, Brante. Would you mind if we take a walk? It's getting a bit stuffy in here. The prefect clearly wants to discuss something in private. You walk down the stairs together and leave the prefecture. Soon the two of you are walking down the noisy streets of the Brass District. The wind is strong today, the grey sky mercifully overcast. The people around you are bartering, buying and selling eagerly. The streets are full of craftsmen and factory workers. Merchant carts squeak as they roll down the streets. The head of the prefecture looks more worried than usual, lost in thought as he observes the bustling street life around him. Brante, do you recall how we talked about the tyranny of the nobility in this province? Doris Otten, the High Command of Magra, is on a murderous spree. He challenges his subordinates to a duel for the slightest infraction and slaughters them with impunity. If our law is unable to protect anyone from the violent tyranny of the Arcanians, who will ever respect the law? It's time we put an end to this. As long as I'm in charge of the prefecture, establishing the rule of law over people of all estates and titles is our most important task. But people like Otton stand in our way, people who think themselves above the law. We need to prove them wrong. I've been informed that Otton has pressured your childhood friend, Captain Tommas, into a deal, and Mr. Guerrero has sought your assistance in private. Am I right? You admit that it is so. Indeed, as an old friend, Tommas has counted on you to defend him. And so, young Brante, I believe that to be reason enough to entrust this case to you officially. If you find yourself judging your abilities, know that you are my best candidate. No other judge would have the courage to prosecute an Arcanian. That, and I trust you more than any ordinary judge. I spoke to your father, but even he would not accept this undertaking. He says your family has worked too hard to be ennobled by the sword to risk it all now. But you bear no such burden, do you? As it stands right now, sentencing an Arcanian to even the smallest punishment is unthinkable. But drop by drop, water can wear down any stone. We will make our way to Otton, but we must do it slowly and carefully. What we need is a perfectly prepared case. We need you to find enough incontrovertible evidence and enough witnesses who are willing to testify in court. But I'm sure you realise that this wouldn't be enough to force an Arcanian to go to trial, don't you, Montgomery? We have to change the unspoken rules in our city and province. We'll start with lower-ranking people, lower-ranking cases, and little by little we'll establish rules that even high-born nobles will have to obey. All of a sudden, Nobleton stops. Standing in the middle of a street bustling with life, he points out a number of commoners hurrying about their business. Just look. All these people need to know that there is such a thing as justice. The law must apply to all of them, no matter their lot. Whether suffering, praying, or ruling, they need to know they can rely on us judges to enforce the law against anyone and everyone. I'm counting on you on this, Sir Brante. You stand motionless as Sir Bourne studies you intently. From now on, from this moment forth, you will prosecute a case against the High Commander of Magra, a high-born Arcanian from an ancient dynasty. This is a pivotal moment in your destiny and your career. You could rise higher than ever, or plunge into obscurity and ruin. You decide to talk about Tommas and his fate. Right now, he represents your best chance of getting Otton interdicted, but there's absolutely no guarantee he will live to speak at trial. If you are to oversee this case, ensuring his safety has to be the first thing you do. You're right, Brante, we need Tommas Guerrero to see this to the end. Remember, this is about more than your friend and his fate. This is a matter of law and justice for the entire province. The peril to Sir Tommas's life is great indeed, but if you openly defy the High Commander right now, your standing will suffer accordingly. Find a safe shelter for Sir Tommas away from Otton. But if Tommas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for Otton's other victims. I realise you're looking for a way to rescue your friend, but right now we must use all our caution lest our entire case suffer. What say you, Montgomery? What is your plan? So we could try to convince him to leave the Legion, but that's not going to work. Send him out of Anazotti with a squad of gendarmes. I haven't taken him into custody. Or let him roam freely, which I don't think we want to do. I'm going to bring him into custody because I want him here. I suspect that might go badly. You inform Elborn that you have a plan to protect Tommas, but the prefect need not know the details. It will be safer for everyone this way. That will, Brante, you're the only one who truly knows how to help your friend. Proceed then, my only request is that you remain within the law at all times. You assure the Prefect that the law will not be broken, on the contrary, it will be enforced with prejudice. I'll leave that to your conscience then. We should get back to work, begin preparing the case at once. Back at your office, you send a note to Tommas's address. A brief request to visit you at the prefecture as soon as possible. You return to the office that evening. You've not seen him for just one day, but he looks a decade older. It pains you to see him so downcast. But you have news. Otton is well on his way towards being punished for his crimes. You are building a case against the High Commander Magra, and Tommas absolutely has to participate in the trial as the main witness and tell the whole truth about the lawless tyranny of the haughty Argnian. Upon hearing these words, Tommas stands tall again. You spy a his spark in his eyes, a glimmer familiar from the years when you were both young. My oh my, the Brante boy next door wants to put an Argnian behind bars. Come in, buddy, I'll bear witness alright. I'm going to have myself a good rant about that highborn bastard. You ask your friend to pace himself for now. First of all, Tommas needs protection against Otton's harassment, and you have a plan for that. You'll start building a case of illegal duelling, but introduce the facts in a different way. It'll look like Tommas was the one who initiated the duel, and you'll personally sentence him to a term in prison and temporary revocation of the sword. This way, Otton will be unable to reach Tommas or challenge him again. Tommas will remain safe for several months. You want me to put me in jail? Isn't that too much? How's that going to affect my standing in the Legion? But my only alternative is dueling Otton again? Okay, do what you must. I'll put my trust in you, if it means spending a couple of months behind bars. It shouldn't be any worse than our barracks. That settled, you write an order to imprison Captain Tommas Guerrero for inciting a duel with his superior, Sir Doris Otton. All that is left now is to summon the gendarmes and have them seize Tommas's sword and take him to prison. You calmly watch your friend being put in shackles. He manages a sly wink before being led out of your office. Now Captain Guerrero should be locked in a dark cell and kept safe and sound by the prefecture. Not even Argnian High Command has the power to get him out of there. But your gambit does not go unnoticed. One of the judges of pressure learns about your order and starts spreading rumours amongst the other nobles, claiming you besmirched the good name of Sir Doris Otton. After all, you've created a written record of Otton being challenged to a duel by one of his own captains, a considerable mark of shame for an Argnian High Commander. The nobles are talking about it now. This will surely attract Otton's unwanted attention to the case, and make your work as a judge more difficult. Indeed, but it keeps Tommas safe. If we send him out out of Anazotti, he'd get assassinated. Our reputation goes down. Our scheming goes up, though, which is useful. Could have been worse. You have been entrusted with a case against the noble and influential Argnian, the High Commander of the province. He is accused of violence against his own legionnaires. Let's hope that doesn't come back to cause any major problems for us. A holy day is coming, a day when the entire empire thanks the twins for the silver tree, the sign they left behind as a reminder of their eternal presence in this world. This momentous occasion is especially important for Anazotti, but the clergy cannot agree on how best to celebrate it. Father Leonard has called for all worshippers of the twins to approach the temple of the silver tree and kneel before the sacred relic, but the old clergy balks the idea of Leonard and the new believers leading the ritual. The day has come. An immense crowd is moving in a procession towards the temple near the silver tree, where Father Leonard awaits. But an inquisitor by the name of Jean stands in their way. She strikes a defiant pose. Confronted by a member of the Holy Order of the Inquisition, the procession reluctantly stops. People, turn back. Those who attend Leonard's rite will succumb to the new faith. Those who reject their lots will defy their divine design. You're about to bring the wrath of the gods down upon us all, Open your eyes, go back to your homes and pray to the twins. The procession wants to move, but the people are confused. Until Father Leonard himself walks out of the temple to meet Jean face to face. People of Anazotti, no one has the right to deny you the sacred ritual of worshipping at the tree, not even the Inquisition. Is such a denial not more likely to provoke the wrath of the twins? The Inquisition must know that the new faith does not seek to challenge or defy the twins. We are merely trying to correct the mistakes of those who came before us. We do not anger the twins, we merely vex those who refuse to accept the dawn of a new age. Jean finds herself between a rock and a hard place. Seeing that she has no other choice, she lets the procession pass. The new face numbers have swelled of late, it cannot be stopped now. Yeah. So the faith continues to split. And today is an important holiday. The entire empire is celebrating the festival of the Silver Tree, which commemorates the parting gift of the twin gods, the divine sapling they planted in our mortal world, in the middle of Anazotti. The families of the city spend the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join people together, their bloodlines, and the entire empire. Let's try that again. The families of the city spend the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join together all people, their bloodlines, and the entire empire. Mother always oversees this holiday. The day before the festival, she seems to have shaken off her usual apathy and engaged in preparations with excitement. It was as though her illness has loosened its grasp. Mother gathers the entire family for your holiday meal, and Father is in high spirits today, sharing jokes with you and Nathan. Stefan is trying to suppress an atypical agitation. Gloria is the last to join you at the table. She's wearing new breeches with high stockings and a yellow vest. Gloria, you're wearing men's clothes again. No, Mother, I'm wearing clothes women are forbidden to wear. Father gives Gloria a stern look, and Stefan rolls his eyes but says nothing. Suddenly, Nathan speaks up. A few days ago in the market I saw a grocer dressed as Overseer Gaius Tempest. He had a huge carrot for a scepter. He got a sound drumming, of course, but until then it was quite a hoot. Everybody laughs at the ridiculous story, relieved. Even Gloria has a smile on her face when she sits down. The feast commences. Your home finally feels warm for a moment. It wasn't so long ago the four of you couldn't even reach up this table. The first word you said with Gloria was gimme. Nathan used to cling to my skirt all the time, almost tearing it. And you, Montgomery, you couldn't talk at all yet, but your piercing stare was so expressive. It felt as if you were talking to me. Mother looks at Stefan and suddenly grows quiet. When I met Stefan, he was only 3 years old. He was so serious and a smooth talker to boot. I remember that he had a music teacher, but he was too shy to play in front of me, so I used to listen from the next room. Stefan's face twitches. Your elder brother rises and moves to the old harpsichord. His fingers fly gracefully over the keys. A melody fills the house, melancholy and sweet. The last note lingers in the air, then silence falls. The family is awestruck and words fail you all. Who wrote that? A nobleman from the capital, between drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant? Your sister's cutting remark puts an end to the warm, cosy atmosphere. Stefan calmly turns to face her. No, it was I who composed this piece of music. It is called Mother. Mother rises to her feet. She would have needed help to do this just recently, but now she treads unassisted towards Stefan and draws him close. Stefan puts his arms around his stepmother's waist, then detaches himself awkwardly. May the twin gods bless you, Lydia. Gloria considers the scene with thinly veiled fury in her eyes. Of course, highborn nobles like Stefan are made for the arts. They're the only ones lucky enough to have a soul and experience inspiration. Unlike us, the lowborn, we aren't supposed to feel anything but suffering, let alone express it in poetry. Everyone noticed that Gloria's clutching pages filled with writing, her poems. Your sister casts a mournful glance at the family, and her eyes rest on you. We can't appeal to Mother. We don't want to interrupt her. I will let her read her poems. I think it's important we let her do so. Here in private. She's more likely to not get herself killed or in trouble. I think that's the better way forward. You rise from your seat and speak. In your speech, you wholeheartedly support your sister. Gloria had the misfortune to be born a commoner, but she is still entitled to express her feeling. Why is Stefan the only one who has the right to delight Mother with his creations? Every member of our family should be equal. But what about her lot, son? Gloria is permitting herself to practice a noble activity, thus breaching the divine order. You softly explain to Mother that times have changed. Nowadays, art isn't just a pleasure for the nobles, it's a trade plied by many commoners. More and more lowborn tradespeople are taking up the pen and ink rather than the hammer. This is now their labour and their suffering. Mother lets out a heavy sigh, but yields to the onslaught of your inspired speech. Emboldened by your support, Gloria steps into the centre room. Her eyes are fixated on Father. A stranger and a bastard I am called. I am, but still I long for you to say, that I am yours and melt the icy cold, that burns with my heart both night and day. My mother and my brothers are all near, but I feel cold as though we were apart. Ashamed yet still compelled to make you hear, I long to hold you closely to my heart. I am a stranger, 'tis my only crime. Forgive me, oh, but mercy is forbidden. I hope you'll see, if not forgave, in time, my bitter love, both joyous and well hidden. Father stares at her in bewilderment. Gloria, Stefan springs to his feet and leaves for his chamber, slamming the door behind him. I don't feel so well. Nathan, son, please help me to my room. Mother leaves the room, leaning on Nathan's arm. The celebration is cut short. Stefan's relation's gone down, as is our unity. Gloria, I was hoping you would be a little bit more respectful, but I guess not. So yes, we had a rendezvous with Octavia, we've grown close. And I suspect our relationship with her will only grow, but it will come with consequences, I imagine. However, we'll call things apart there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.